Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
Srimad Bhagavatam prayers. Samsara Sagara Sagare Magnam Dinam Mam Karuna Nide Kalma Graya Grihi Tangam Mam Uttara Pavarnavar Srimad Bhagavata Gyoyam Prataksha Krishna Evai Svikrito Si Mayanata Muktyartam Bhavasagare Manorate Madhiyoyam Safala Salvadatvaya Nilkune Naiva Kartavyam Dasoham Tabakeshava Bhave Bhave Yatha Bhakti Padayostava Chayate Tata Kurushva Devesha Natastvam No Yata Prabhu Nama Sankirtanam Yasha Sarvapapa Pranashanam Pranamo Tukashamanastam Namami Harim Param Amma Dasha Yatombayat Pitaratas Chalteshva Vigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikabaya Muhyanti Suraya Tejo Bari Mridam Yata Punimayo Yatratil Salgo Mursha Damna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuakam Satyam Param Dimahi Dalma Projita Kaita Buttara Paramo Nilma Saranam Satam Vedam Bastavam Attaravastu Shivatam Tapatrayon Mulanam Srimat Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimba Pare Ishvaraha Satyo Hritya Bharutya Tetra Kritivi Shushurshubis Darshana Nikama Kalpataro Kalitam Palam Sukamuka Damurta Drabasamitam Pivada Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rashka Bubi Babuka Sachidananda Rupaya Vishvopatyadi Hetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Sri Krishnaya Payam Namaha Yam Prabhrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Tvipayano Pirahaka Tara Ajuhava Putreti Tammayataya Taravo Vinedus Tam Sarvabhuta Hridayam Munim Anatosmi Yasvanubhavam Akila Shruti Saramekam Adhyatma Deepam Atitil Satam Tamontam Samsarinam Karuna Yaha Purana Guhyam Tam Vyasasunum Upayami Gurum Muninam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Utirayet Kamaniya Kishora Muktam Multe Kalavenu Kubanita Drita Nanandoho Mamavachi Bijimbitam Murare Madurimna Kanika Pika Pikati Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Putale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nilvese Sasunyavadi Pachasha Deshatarine Pande Nanda Vraja Strinam Padarenum Abhishnasha Yasam Harigato Gitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam Sri Gopi Charanara Vinda Paramana Pe Namaha Pitambaram Karabi Rajita Chakrashankam Komodaki Sarasijam Karuna Samudram Radha Sahayamiti Sundaramandaha Sam Patala Yesha Manisham Hriti Papayami Komalam Kujayam Benum Shamaloyam Kumaraka Veda Vetya Param Brahma Pasatam Prato Mama Bukam Karoti Pachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yakripa Tamaham Bande Paramananda Madhavam Salvatara Govinda Nama Sankirtanam Govinda Govinda Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai. Подожди мою Prabhu. Will you kindly promote my both accounts?
Okay, just 1 second. Pranas here. My co-host. Yes, one is done. Okay. Yes, I think the second also done.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And now, Chetna Mataji, could you kindly do a summary of previous class?
Hare Krishna. We started with Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 4, 5, and 6. The focus was in Text 6. The overview of our discourse was how to establish an internal relationship with Krishna, how to counter Kali, who removes goodness from human beings and communities by developing the process of bhakti and inviting light so darkness cannot exist. What is bhakti and how does it interact with dharma? What is dharma? How to pay obeisances and how to ask a good question. In the material world, we are entangled in a struggle for existence, which is perpetual. To get out, we must re-establish our eternal relationship with Krishna. To do that, three things are needed. Nirmas Saranam, purity of heart, can be referred to as Bhakti Yoga. Pritvihi, devotional service to our performing our responsibilities and duties, known as Karma Yoga. Shushushabhihi, eagerness to hear spiritual knowledge, can be referred to as Jnana Yoga. The Bhagavad Gita starts and ends with dharma. True and highest dharma is developing bhakti to Krishna. Love for Krishna is bhakti. Dharma is activities which develop love for Krishna. For example, being a perfect mother or father leads to a way of loving God. In Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 6, the definition, true love should be unmotivated, unconditional, and uninterrupted, constant. With that love for Krishna, you will be completely satisfied in your life because spiritual love is ever increasing. What type of dharma is needed to increase bhakti? In Canto 11, Chapter 19, Text 22 to 24, Krishna gives examples of dharma which evoke bhakti in us. Krishna guarantees that our bhakti within our own heart will blossom if we follow this. These are the items mentioned. Faith in Amrita Katha is nectar. It is the matured fruit of the trees of the Vedas. Chanting his glories constantly. Eternity was mentioned, Nitya and Sastra. Puja, be steady, not break, be fixed in attachment. Stuti bihi, beautiful hymns, Durga Kunti Stuti. Showing respect to Krishna's service, the use of all our limb for paying obeisances, and wonderful examples were given. Offer respect to Krishna's devotees, extend respect to all living entities. The ability in man is Krishna. The singing of birds is a manifestation of Krishna's voice. Offering ordinary and bodily activities, e.g. cooking for the self. Declaring of words of transcendental activities of Krishna, Madhguna, offering the mind and fixing the buddhi on Krishna, giving up all desires, because once is connected with Krishna, who owns the universe, past, present, and future, who is more dear to Krishna? So therefore, why worry? Desire is an expression of ignorance and fear in three knots: avidya, karma, akarma yoga. And we have to let go of all desires, and Krishna will provide everything for us. Give up your wealth for Krishna's sake. Give up sense gratification and enjoyment. Give up desirable activities. In charity, give up aggression and ill feeling towards others. Huttam, offering of sacrifice and guides towards pleasing Krishna. Japam, chanting the holy names of the Lord. Vratas and ekadasis undertake. Tapas, austerities, means activities which develop love for Krishna. All of these will raise one's consciousness and love for Krishna. These constitute religious principles by which human beings who've actually surrendered themselves to Krishna automatically develop love. The meaning of obeisances is nicely reflected in Namaste, which means creating the divinity in a person and the entire parampara. And a good question should be related to Krishna because it brings about true social welfare. That's all. There's a lot more I could say, but
Please do.
Okay,
thank you, Chetna. Patanjali Muni Prabhu, your turn.
Okay, so if you can finish, that will be good, Mataji. If you have some more, please carry on. Because we started early today. Yeah.
Well,
because we started early today, so we have some more time. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Oh. So the bit I missed out is that our birth is due to ancestors and related to the whole of creation of the universe. And Krishna's will and devtas, including Brahmas, are involved. To offer obeisances, we say Namaste, which means I greet the divinity within you and entire parampara. We offer obeisances to Krishna, the primary cause, and then to the cited deities mentioned in Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 4. And then the other bit was to do with asking a good question, because in Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 5, the true social welfare system is reciting, learning, and discussing the Srimad Bhagavatam, because only these questions are capable of truly satisfying ourselves and makes us soul truly enlightened. And good, worthy questions relating to Krishna are the only proper and true questions. If you invite a sannyasi to your house, make sure you have a good question, because that is the best form of dakshina. That's it.
Thank you, Chetna.
Thank you. Thank you for the summary. So now we can we can remember a little bit what we discussed last week. And from the last week, including today, and also for next few sessions, will be foundation of understanding Srimad Bhagavatam, and also it will be foundation of our spiritual life. So I sent the recording of this second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. So from this last week verse, from 6th, Savai Pumsam, Paro Dharmo, Yato Bhaktil Adoksaje, Ahoitaki Apratiyatam, Yenatma Suprasidati. This is definition of bhakti. So bhakti means service to Adokshaja, Krishna. Apratiyatam. Ahoitaki means unmotivated and unconditional. And also Apratiyata, which means uninterrupted. It has to be continuous. No matter what challenges we have, no matter what difficulties we face, we shouldn't give up. So this is the definition of the bhakti. And then Yayatma Suprasidati. Through that bhakti, ultimately, we get the pleasure, we'll be pleased. So from this one to text 28, 29, Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Para Makaha, Vasudeva Para Yoga, Vasudeva Para Kriyaha, Vasudeva Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapaha, Vasudeva Paro Dharmo, Vasudeva Paragatihi. So up to this text 29 altogether, from the 6 to 29, these are verses is truly the base of understanding entire Bhagavatam. So these are like a blueprint of the building. So the intelligent architect, when they see blueprint, they can already imagine in their mind or in their intelligence how a building can shape. So those who doesn't have knowledge, for them, it's difficult to see what's what. But by seeing the blueprint, they can build up entire building. In this way, these are the verses so important, like a basic infrastructure of Srimad Bhagavatam. So I would suggest for everyone, so let us make an attempt to memorize all these verses. So I thought, in order to make job easier, we tried one verse a week. So by the one verse a week, so around the 6 months, we will memorize all these verses. And then each time before we class, we repeat these verses so that our consciousness saturated with these Srimad Bhagavatam verses. By this foundation, it will open to door of understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are the key. So when we enter into a house, we use a key to open the door, then all facilities are available. So you have a nice bed, sofa, and also your kitchen is available. But if you lost the key, then if you cannot enter, then all facilities are not available. The same way when we drive a car, we have to carry key with you. Sometimes you forget the key. Then the car is yours, but it's not available for you. The same way, these verses are the base or key for understanding entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are the essence of the essence of the essence, truly essence. So from today, let us try to memorize one verse a day. So sixth verse, let us repeat, and then we'll do today 2 verses, 7 and 8. We explain, and then next week we will memorize the 7, possibly 8 also. So you can.
Prabhu, I'm sorry, you mean 1, 2, 6? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Please open 1 to 6, thank you. And then you all unmute, please, so that I say the verses and then you follow. Yes. So this week, your task is memorize this verse this week. So I would 5 minutes in the morning as soon as you get up, and you spend 5 minutes in the evening as soon as before you go to bed. Spare 10 minutes a day. So I'm sure you have many duties or so many things to arrange, so many things to deal with during the day. This is a small commitment between you and me that even I'll practice myself. So the first time when you open our eyes, in my case, I offer prayers. Karagre Lakshmi Devi, Karam Matya Saraswati, Karam Muletu Govinda, Prabhate Karadarshanam. And then I offer prayers obeisances, Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prastaya Putale, Sinmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nilvesheja Sunyabadi Pashasha Deshatarine. And then I offer prayers, Parampara, and mantra which we chant before the Hare Krishna mantra, Namo Vishnu,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sirabheta Gadadara, Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda, and then Hare Krishna mantra, and then I chant one more mantra, Samudra Basata Devi, Parvata Stana Mandale, Vishnu Patani Namastubhyam, Pada Shvarsha Samashvame. So before I step on the earth, please forgive. So this mantra, just as soon as I open my eyes, I chant this mantra. For you, I don't know what mantra you chant, how you start your day. It's entirely up to you. So you do your own way of starting the day. But before you come out of bed, please try to recite this verse and then try to memorize. So let us start. 사발품삼 바로 달모
사발품삼 바로 달모
사발품삼 바로 달모
사발품삼 바로 달모
도박딜 아독샤제
야토 박도셔제
도박딜 아독샤제
야토 박도셔예
야브라티하
갑디야다타
아호이 뚝야 브라티야타
아하이 이하타
야타트마 수프라시다티
야야타마 수프라티다티
야야트마 수프라시다티
야야타 수프라티다티.
So could you read this translation, please?
Bhavina Mataji, could you kindly read the translation?
The supreme occupation by which men can attain to loving devotional service to the transcendental mood. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So this verse.
One second, I will mute everyone. Patanjali Muni, could you
please,
kindly unmute yourself? Please,
okay,
please.
okay. This verse, before you go to bed, please chant just for pay attention to 5 minutes. That's all. So morning 5 minutes, evening 5 minutes. By the 1 week, no doubt you will memorize. And also this is a medicine for not to get what you call the Alzheimer disease. The best way you try to utilize your brain so that your brain can function better. This is exercise for the brain also. So today's verse, let us start today's verse. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Purayojitaha Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Jayat Ahuitukam. So translation please, 1 to 7, today's verse. So while you're preparing, I'll read one more time, 1 to 7. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Purayojitaha Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Jayat Ahoitukam. Yes, translation please.
Jolly Mataji, could you kindly unmute?
Hare Krishna. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world.
Yes. How nice it is. So Krishna is so kind. So Krishna make buy one get two free. Then Krishna offers free of Jnanam and Vairagya. So here it says Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Jayat Ahoitukam. By his causeless mercy, Ahoitukam, unconditional, Krishna will provide Jnanam and Vairagyam also. That's why in Prabhupada, in the purport, the beautiful purport, but I'll just quote just one line. So in your good time, please read this purport also. Bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. What an encouragement. It is a sublime but easy process. So this easy process will start, of course, along with your chanting, along with your reading, we'll make one tiny effort. We spend 10 minutes, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. So that easy process. And then Prabhupada concluded the purport by saying that bhakti is supermost occupation of human being. This is the last line of the purport. So this is the glory of bhakti. So then we have a definition of bhakti. To bhaktil adokshade ahutakya pratihatam yayatma suprasidati. So then what is jnanam? What is vairagyam? So that definition is given in the 11th canto, chapter 29, chapter 19, text 27. So here there are altogether 4 definitions is given. So one definition of the definition of vairagyam, and also the opulence. So there are many definitions of dharma, but this is Krishna's definition. So this title is called Perfection of Spiritual Knowledge. So what is the definition of dharma, which Krishna gives? So he says dharma mat bhakti krit prokto jnanam cha guneshu asanga vairagyam aishvaryam cha anima adhyayaha. So translation, please.
Rupa Mataji, kindly read it.
Hare Krishna. Actual religious principles are stated to be those that lead one to my devotional service. Real knowledge is the awareness that reveals my all-pervading presence. Detachment, education, and opulence is the 8 mystic purpose.
It will be mentioned, we'll go through again. Vasudeva Paro Dharma. So Vasudeva developing love for Krishna and develop dedication, affection for Krishna is true Dharma. But that is the highest definition. So that we need to, of course, that is the essence, but we need to know the process also. So regarding Dharma, we'll discuss a bit further. So Jnanam cha Atmika, so Aikatmya Darshanam. So presence of super soul. So seeing presence of super soul is definition of Jnanam. So that recognize Krishna not only on the altar, recognizing Krishna within your heart, and also that Krishna within everyone's heart, every living entity, in every element, object. So developing that kind of perception is called jnanam. And then vairagyam is, it says here, guneshu asanga. So guna, there are many objects in this material world. So in that object, asanga, rather than relating to related object in relationship with Krishna is called vairagya. So here, English translation is detachment. So detachment means don't try to make a connection with my own self or my own possession. So when we see something nice, always we try to relate it to what it benefits me, how it comforts me. He disconnected this type of mentality. Oh, this is very nice. So it's so nice Krishna created this one, or it's so nice how that, if that is offered to Krishna, how nice it will be. In this way, constantly try to make a connection with Krishna, that is vairagya. So let's go back to our the verses today. So in this way, if we develop bhakti, then this quality of connection to trying to making relations with everything to Krishna, that mentality will develop. So how long will it take? Krishna said, don't worry, it will take very soon. Why? He said here, asu vairagya. Asu means very soon, he says. So Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati. Janayati means produce. Asu, very quickly. He quickly produce Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Avitakam by his causeless mercy. So be hopeful, be enthusiastic about this bhakti. Why? Because in order to develop Gyan for the Jnana Yoga Marg is not easy. But here Krishna offers free. And then next verse it says, Dharma svanushta pumsam vishvaksena katasuya no padayet yadiratim shrama evahi kevalam. So this verse also, along with definition of bhakti, and then after bhakti, the jnana and vairagya develops the effect of bhakti, and also this verse also so many times quoted by Srila Prabhupada, and this verse is quoted by so many devotees as well as all the sannyasis. So any lecture you hear, especially is given by ISKCON devotees, you will hear this verse quite often comes. So let's read this verse translation.
Sapramataji, would you kindly unmute?
Hare Krishna. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much unless lever is they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here, Prabhupada translated dharma as occupational activities. So then there are many definition of dharma is there. So that, for example, we just saw definition of Krishna's dharma is mat bhakti krit. So any activities which is performed for the pleasure of Krishna is called dharma. So here, proper translation is occupational duty or occupational activities. And Prabhupada explains why Prabhupada translates in that way. So that comes text 6, the Savai Pumsam Baro Dharmo, Yato Bhakti Adok Saje, that purport Prabhupada says in the middle, he says, this is the first paragraph, a second paragraph. In second paragraph, if you maybe you can go the 6th verse, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma verse, Pranas. So if you go, you can follow. So it says 6, 1, 2, 6. If you go 1, 2, 6, yes. If you go second paragraph of purport, yes, that one, second paragraph. It said we have purposely denoted dharma as occupation because the root of the root of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. So we have basically in our society varna and ashram dharma. For Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. So what does it mean by Brahmana? What does it mean by Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra belong to? And also, if we try to be a devotee, then along with what we do, actually we try to develop the Brahmana's quality. So if we develop Brahmana's quality, then there is opportunity of directly serving Krishna. So, for example, in the altar, only Brahman initiated devotees are allowed. So someone may not be interested in the serving altar directly, but someone may be interested in, maybe one day I would like to do that. So anyone who wants to do direct service on the altar, they should have bear in mind this Brahminic quality. Plus, someone may not be interested in direct service towards the Lord, but and yet, if you develop this Brahminic quality, then that will help to understand the Shastra, and that will help spiritual quality of life. So in this way, today's verse, it says here, Dharma swamshita pumsam. So this Dharma, occupational activity, one performs according to one's own position. So svanushtaha pumsam. So we are all positioned in different degree of life, different position. But each position has its own dharma. Of the dharma is bhishvaksena katasuyaha. So here it says the occupational do so much useless labor if they do not provoke the attraction for the message of Supreme Godhead. So the goal of our dharma is bhishvaksena katasuyaha. So get the message of Krishna. And then no padet, na upadayet. So here it says, if does not produce that understanding of Krishna, then what happens? Then endeavor only, which means it says here useless labor. So when you do endeavor, there is a certain result, but certain endeavor, certain labor doesn't produce any result. So it's called useless labor. So fundamentally, we have Dharma as a king, we have Dharma as a father and mother, along with Dharma as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So all the Dharma, whatever we perform, we have to do according to social responsibility, according to our duty. But and yet, if the goal is to have a certain message of Krishna, we have to extract that. If we cannot do that, then that is the waste of the labor, waste of energy. So in this way, then what kind of dharma is there for Brahma? What kind of dharma is there for Kshatriya? That we have to know. And then this is mental makeup of our existence, the characteristics of our own existence. So let us look at what kind of category we belong to. And then even if we belong to a certain category, and yet there is no harm to develop Brahminical quality. So let us look at Bhagavata, chapter 18. It describes details about each ashram and each for social altar, the Dharma. So 1841. Gita, Bhagavata 1841. It
Yes,
says,
I've got
Brahmana
it.
Kshatriya Kalmani Parabi Bhaktani Svabhava Prabhavai Gunahi. Yes, read translation.
Uma Mataji, could you kindly unmute yourself and read it? Uma, unmute.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Hare Krishna.
Yes, we can hear you
Brahmanas,
now.
Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras are distinguished by the qualities born in their own natures in accordance with the material modes or chastiser of the enemy. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
And one more verse.
And then text 2 Shamo dharma tapat socham shantil arjavam evacha dhyana vigyanam astikyam brahma karma svabhavacham. Yeah, next verse.
Uma, please read it again.
Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness these are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work.
Okay. So Prabhupada used to say Vaishnava is higher than Brahmanas. But do we have these qualities? Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, religiousness. Do we really have it? We have to question ourselves. If we don't have it, then let us develop. Why not? So Vaishnava means should be above these Brahmanas. So Vaishnava means along with all these qualities, we have one extra qualities. What is that? Love of Krishna. So let us look at then Shama. What is the Shama? So this Shama is explained also in Bhagavatam 19th chapter, 11 canto 19th chapter. So today the Prana is very busy, so coming back and forth. The 36. So it says, so I'll give you here each word definition so that you know clear-cut understanding. You'll have a clear-cut understanding of each verses. So if you have the clear understanding, then you know where to go and how to deal with, how to understand this Bhagavatam, and also this will expand to your own day-to-day life to make a decision, or to make choices. So 11 canto, 19th chapter, text 36, definition is given that Shama man nishtata buddhehe. So the intelligence in me constitute mental equilibrium. The Shama peacefulness means mental peace. Moreover, this mental peace referring to mental equilibrium, balanced state of mind all the time amongst the happiness and distress and pleasure and pain and gain and loss, success and failure, fair, unfair, all this duality, you get mental stability all the time. So how to get this mental stability, it says, is man nishta buddhihi, apply your intelligence, observe your intelligence in Krishna. Somehow or other, if you relate it to Krishna, then you will get this mental stability. So I don't know whether this is relevant to this subject or not, but I will say in New York, there is a Harlem where the very poor, uneducated people reside. That special street. I've never been there, but I heard that there is a Harlem. So in that street, in that area, crime rate is very high, and also the cleanliness and also the people there, their level of living is considered as a low class. So that the children also over there, also they are not very much educated, and also for them also the education is not much valued. So one school suddenly changed the all together. Suddenly, one of the best school in America. So what happened was that principal he had a strong understanding that these children, although they are in a deprived condition and circumstances, according to their endeavor, they can make it better than their parents, and they can make it better than they used to be. So this principal, newly appointed, actually he had experienced the education system in the Eastern country. So in Eastern country, one of Eastern country, it says he went there as English teacher, and then he saw how they respect the student, how student respect the teacher, and also how they working so hard, so that even less, for example, what do you call, less what do you call, even if their situation, even less circumstances, or is not favorable for their education, but these students also, he saw that they go to very good universities, and then they, one sense, in material sense, they are successful in their life. So this person applied that system into the Harlem, that school. So initially there was so much opposition, there were so many difficulties, and then he had his own determination. By the discipline, by the education, these students also will get better, so that he had a conviction that I can bring out their potential. So then a few years later, out of their expectation, or surprisingly, one of their students was able to enter into Harvard University along with all other very prestigious university, and then they were able to get in their university. And then this education system in New York, they got spotlight. And then one of interview, I heard that very interesting statement. The principal said. The principal said that when I applied discipline in this school, initially there was so much opposition, and also so many students, they want to leave this school because it's too hard, too strict, and also they couldn't tolerate the rigor they never experienced. But later on, those who follow this strict discipline, they found their mental stability in them. So they themselves start feeling good in that discipline. So they started to achieve things. So in this way, one thing struck to me in that interview was that the discipline gave mental stability in them. The same way, for us, our mental stability, our mental equilibrium, for those students, they found it in the discipline. So we have a similar process. So we call it sadhana. So if we follow proper sadhana, then it will help our mental stability. Our we go through different things in our life. Sometimes we feel up, sometimes we down, but through up and down, somehow we will maintain our own stability. That is the source of our spiritual strength. And also this will be our character. So someone always in a way that calm and also sober, then this brings a certain trust in them. Exactly the same way, shamaha, this is mental equilibrium, means that actually we have to do externally the sadhana, and then internally, always we have to observe our consciousness in spiritual practice and the Krishna. So, oh, Babuji, this is too much, but it's not that too much. You mold your life, you do what you need to do, perform your responsibility, perform your duty, and yet previously you do because you are meant to do, but now you do, you add Krishna in that. Krishna want me to do. Previously you do because you have to do, but now you do because Krishna want me to do. In this way, the same work can be one of your offering towards Krishna. So you make a rice for your family. Previously, you just made your rice or cooked the dinner for your own family, but now you cook the same dishes for the pleasure of the Lord, and then our family will take Krishna's prasadam. That's simple. If you live alone, oh, I just cook for myself. But no, you cook still for Krishna within your house. Maybe Krishna will be there in the form of picture, in the form of book, in any manner, so that you offer it and you take that food, then that food is become prasadam. The same way you look after your garden, you look after your children or grandchildren, all the same. Previously, you look after your grandchildren because it's my grandchildren. No, I look after these grandchildren because Krishna wants me to look after this soul nicely. So in this way, just add Krishna in your daily activities through your consciousness. Externally looks the same, but internally, little bit of change. What is that change? That absorption in Krishna, that is changes. So in this way, mental equilibrium is there. So that sometimes something happens to our activity, then what will happen? We'll get immediate effect. Then we get disturbed. But if we add Krishna consciousness in, then that disturbance will be far, far less than before, and then easily you get back into the original state of your mind. So spectrum of up and down. So waves goes very high and goes down. This goes up and down slowly. The width of up and down will be slowly reduced, and then finally it will be very, very steady in your mind. So if you are steady in your mind, you know what will happen? People around you will notice that this person is always sober. So then they'll ask a question, or they'll ask how you can do that, and then you naturally you will have opportunity to spread Krishna's message to others. It is organic process. By force, if you're trying to do while you are mentally disturbed, then it won't be much effective. And people will notice. People are clever. They are not dumb. So he cannot handle himself, but he's trying to preach to others. So it won't work. So in this way, Shamaha is the first quality of the Brahmana. Shamaha means one of the first steps to be a good devotee. Or Shama can be first step of spiritual practice. So here it says Shama, and then Dhamma comes for the Brahmana. Dhamma. What is the translation of Dhamma? Self-control. So what is then self-control? Krishna explains very nicely to Uddhava, such nicely. Krishna gives each word definition so that we can follow, we can develop this spiritual practice. So again and again, I told you this is a manual. If we know manual, then we have to work out ourselves. So then we make many mistakes. But this is the manual for spiritual practice. So then see next, what is the Dhamma? What is the self-control? Krishna says here, Indriya Samyamaha. So complete discipline of senses is called self-control. So can you read the second translation? So anyone read the first first two line and the translation? Yeah, next people.
Natai, could you kindly unmute and read first two lines of translation? Natai?
Hare Krishna is coming, yeah. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Absorbing the intelligence in me constitutes mental equilibrium and complete discipline of sense in itself. Control tolerance mean patiently enduring unhappiness and steadfastness and genital.
Okay, up to that much. Yeah, thank you. So here it said, observing the intelligence in me constitute mental equilibrium and complete discipline of senses. So sense control means discipline. Sense control means I'm not eating anymore, or I'm not sleeping at all. No, this is not sense control. So discipline or regulate is regulating the senses is called sense control. So that's why Gita says that yukta hara viharasya, yukta chetasya. Where is that verse? Bhagavata. Who can find that verse? Yukta hara viharasya. So that how to discipline ourselves. Krishna says very, very. 6:17. So yukta hara viharasya, yukta chetasya kalmaso, yukta swapna avabodasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. So Gita says such a wonderful verse. Such a practical verse also. It says here, so this is 17. Anyone can read the translation, please?
Prabhuji Mataji, could you kindly unmute?
He who is
and read it?
regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system.
So here, yogo bhavati dukkha. So if you practice this yoga, all misery will go away. Dukkha. So how it goes away? First of all, you regulate your eating. So when you eat, time you have to be regulated, and also the quantity of it, how much you eat, also you have to regulate. So Prabhupada said that you eat as much as you want, but you eat only as much you can digest. So in this way, you eating, you have to regulate. As you know, sleeping, you have to regulate. One thing I want to focus here is vihara. So vihara means recreation. So you may heard, I think you heard already so many times regarding eating and sleeping, or you work, all these things. But I'd like to here point out the vihara, recreation. So certain activity, it relaxes you. So for example, someone watches TV, someone watches a movie, or someone do the sports or any activities. Even those activities also you need to regulate. So because due to lockdown, so many people are at home. So one of the interview I saw that one lady, she went through entire Netflix, the drama and the movies. So she said that nothing I'm supposed to do. So nothing can do. So I went through all the movie in Netflix. So this is not very conducive for our own health, externally physical health or mental health, or for the devotee, for our spiritual life. So if some people watching it, if you watch it, that you regulate that watching also. Don't get indulged, don't get sucked into it. So in this way, Shama Dhamma. So now you can we can conclude that Shama means internal discipline in one sense, and the Dhamma means external discipline. So this is a fundamental qualities of Brahmana: Shama, Dhamma, and then here Tapaha, the austerity. So the austerity also, I think we went through detail the previous class, and then socham, samatava socham. So socham also let us even we went through, but let us recapitulate one more time. So, what is tapaha? Krishna says here, chapter 19, text 37. He says 11:19:37. He says, "Kama tyagas tapaha." So, austerity is kama tyaga. So it starts with danda nyasa paramdhanam kama tyagas tapaha smritam. So you got it?
11:19.
11:19,
Yeah.
36 to 37.
Okay.
Yeah, 36 to 37.
Yeah.
So it may be always easy to give stories in the class, kata, so people get more related but easy. But this manual is maybe a bit hard. May not be that sweet as other class. But if you go through this step by step, the brick by brick, then you can mold your own spiritual life such a nice way, so that like when you go through the certain street, there are beautiful houses, all looks the different shape, but fundamental ingredients, the brick is there, the same bricks. So by understanding this each concept, so I want you to mold your own spiritual house. So consider this one as your own, the brick for your own spiritual life. So here now, all of a sudden it disappeared. Prana?
I found it, Prabhuji.
Prana is here? Okay, so you found it?
35, did you say, or 36?
37 actually.
37.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Dandanyas paramdhanam kama tyagas tapaha. So translation is start from the greatest charity. So can you read from there?
Oh, I've got the observing the intelligence now.
Yeah, let's start. Go ahead. Yeah, you read one more
That's
time.
the one.
Yeah, that's
observing
one.
the intelligence in me constitutes mental equilibrium, and complete discipline of the senses in it is self-control. Tolerance means patiently enduring unhappiness, and steadfastness occurs when one conquers the tongue and genitals. The greatest charity is to give up all aggression towards others, and renunciation of lust is understood to be real austerity.
Okay, thank you. Up to that much. So here, kama tyagas tapaha. Real austerity is to give up kama. So here it says renunciation of lust. So lust is only one aspect. So kama means the desire, isn't it? So one of the strongest desire is lust. So not only just lust, we give up our own desire for our own satisfaction, our own comfort, for our own pleasure. If we give up those things, then there is tapaha. That's a tapas. So Prabhupada says tapas means giving up your old habit, which are unfavorable for spiritual practice. So giving up your one of all the habit is also tapas. And then Prabhupada gave definition of a higher tapas. So once you can manage, control yourself in that way, so that you can give up your old habit, then next step is following the order of Guru. So there is higher sense of a tapas. So you have to put yourself in a way that whatever Guru wants, so you have to challenge, and then you have to progress in that direction. So that is tapaha. In the socham also we discussed that internal cleanliness, outside external cleanliness. But Krishna's definition of socham, it comes in the 36, 7, 8 in the third line. It says Kalmasu asangamaha socham. So here, cleanliness is detachment in productive activities. So quite interesting. We all have productive mentality, no doubt. We do something, you give up that expectation. If you give up the mentality, if you give up that mentality, it's called socham. So external cleanliness, it seems like everyone knows. That's why Krishna doesn't need to mention. In Krishna's eyes, is more important than external cleanliness. It doesn't mean that ignore external cleanliness, but it says here trying to develop internal cleanliness also. That's what it means. So internal cleanliness means it's here detachment in productive activities. Karma asangamaha socham. So, and then now all these qualities, bear in mind, is for basic structure of being a devotee. Yes, always remember, Vaishnava is higher than Brahmana. So before to become Vaishnava, so basically we have to develop this all Brahmanical quality also. And then Shantil, Shantil means here it has tolerance. So what is a tolerance? Tolerance, we already read. Tolerance means patiently enduring unhappiness. So here, Krishna's definition of Shanti, tolerance. But Sanskrit word Krishna described here as titiksha. Again, 36, if you go up, 36. Titiksha, dukkha, sammarshaha. Dukkha sammarshaha. So dukkha means unhappiness or sadness. Sammarshaha, tolerating. So this is tolerance of the definition of tolerance. Sankaracharya, remember Sankaracharya gave a definition of tolerance. I think one time I sent a message to one of the group. So titiksha means sahanam salva dukhanam aprati pulvakam. So you tolerate all the dukkha and then aprati pulvakam. You don't try to reverse it. You don't necessarily to make a hard endeavor to come out of that the difficulties. Aprati pulvakam, and also the verse somehow it slipped my mind. And then it says that aprati pulvakam, and then it says, and also rather than trying to reverse, and also tolerating the urge of retaliation. So anything bad to happen, so then you have a mentality comes that, okay, one day I get it back to him. So this types of urge of you trying to get it back to someone, you give up that kind of mentality. And then you constantly, enduring the continuous the challenges or difficulties. That called tolerance. So this also may raise many questions, but this is Krishna's definition. Tolerance means dukkha sammarshaha. Dukkha sammarsha is the titiksha. So then next one is aljavam. Aljavam is honesty. So aljavam, honesty, we discussed. So truly honest means what you say, what you think, what you behave has to be in line, the same. So you say something, but you don't mean it. But you mean something, but you don't say differently. So this is not the way we behave. So we say what we mean what we say. So this is honesty and aljavam. And then jnanam, vijnanam, astikyam. Jnanam we discussed already. Vijnanam is wisdom. So some may have jnana, but not necessarily they may have vijnana. But wisdom we have to develop. So there is a saying, the example of jnana, vijnana, the difference between jnana and vijnana is that one of the scripture, it's Oriental scripture I read that Jnanam is like, you know, the hand, they pick up the grains from the ground, so that when they pick up grains, they pick up, you know, sand also. So they have a certain sandbag in their body, inside the bodily system. So the grain and sand, everything together, and then when they eat, the body filters the system. So this is called jnanam. The vijnanam is when the eagle or hawk, when they from the sky, when they the hunt the prey, they see only one target, and then when it swoops down and then pick up only that target, they don't pick up anything else. So exactly hit the target. So this is called vijnanam. This is called wisdom. So jnanam is we acquires everything, but vijnanam is the essence of the jnanam. So this is the meaning of vijnanam. Astikam is religiousness. So religiousness, Krishna says, is quite interesting. Dhanam ishtam, dharma ishtam, dharma nritam, dhanam nritam. So again, 36, 37, 38, 39, the first line, it says, dharma ishtam, dhanam nritam. So there is a Sanskrit, dhanam, dhanam. So dhanam is a charity, dhanam is a wealth. So dharma. So religiousness is true desirable wealth. It says here. So if you look at true desirable wealth, in the translation, from the bottom of line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line, it says true desirable wealth for human being is religiousness. So maybe can anyone read this one?
Parimataji, you can read.
Third line. It's a third line.
Third line from the bottom.
Yeah, from bottom. Yes.
Parimataji, you hear? All right, I will just read it. The true desirable wealth for human beings is religiousness, and I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, am sacrifice. Religious remuneration is devotion to the Acharya with the purpose of acquiring spiritual instruction, and the greatest strength is the pranayam system of breath control.
Yes. So developing dharma, this is a true wealth in the Krishna's eyes. In Krishna's eyes, the wealth we see is not real wealth. So wealth actually changes according to the time and age. So olden days, wealth was gold. In olden days, wealth was cows. Olden days, wealth was grain. And then recently, wealth means you have a lot of bank balance in the bank. But nowadays, wealth means stock and shares. So wealth measures by this stock and shares. So all this wealth in Krishna eyes is not real wealth. So someone gave such a wonderful example is that, you know why? Because look at those people who have wealth. So for example, when Jayambijay, when he cursed, so he came down this material world to take a role of demon. But their occupation was truly wealthy. So number one was the Ravana and Kumbhakarna. So the Ravana was so wealthy, so his entire Sri Lanka was bedecked with gold. The Kumbhakarna is his brother, so he's such a rich man, and was a powerful man also. And then Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and then Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. There also, Hiranyakashipu is so powerful. So the entire universe was conquered by him. And then he spoke to his own son. So you just follow my instruction, then all wealth will become yours. But Prahlada says that that's not the real wealth he is seeking. So in this way, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksa also, and then Shishupala and Dandabakara also. Shishupala also, he belonged to royal family. And also he had his own quarter. He was a wealthy people, wealthy man, according to our perception. But in Krishna perception is not. True wealth is actually in following Dharma. So in this way, religiousness means nothing but, here it says, here, true desired wealth for human being is religiousness. This is a true wealth. Dharma is a true wealth. So Brahmana, Karma, Svabhavajam. These 9 qualities are Brahmana. So anyone who stick to this quality, if they do, not just for the sake of following, through this activity, if we develop affection for Krishna, there is a true gain in our life. And also if they don't, then, for example, they perform austerity for the sake of their own fame and glory, then according to Bhagavatam, there is a useless labor. Shrama evahi kevalam. So this is Brahmana quality. Now let us look at quickly the Kshatriya quality of from the Bhagavad Gita. So this is chapter 18, text 43, 1843. It says, Soryam teja driti daksham yute chapi apalayanam dhanam ishvara bhava cha shatram karma svabhavajam. This is quite interesting. So Soryam is here, it says, Soryam means heroism. So what is heroism? This also kindly Krishna explained to Uddhava. So now, here is something interesting. Our perception of hero or heroine, what is that? They achieve a certain great thing that normal people cannot achieve. But in the Bhagavatam, again, please come back to the 36, 36, 37, 36 to 37. It said here, if you look at the Sanskrit, you go a bit above. There is the third line. The Sanskrit. If you go Sanskrit, yeah. So second verse. So it started with the Shama Man Nishta Bhutel. Second verse, it says, Dandanyasam Param Dhahamam Kama Tyagas Tapa Smritam Svabhava Vijayam Soryam. So Soryam, the heroism means Svabhava. You have your own nature. Vijayam, you conquer your own nature. So my nature is not about studying. I don't like to read. I don't like to study. Or my nature is not sitting down. I'm active person. I have to move around. There is maybe your own svabhava. But and yet, even if your nature doesn't like to study, doesn't like to read, doesn't like to sit down, but if you sit down and if you start to read Bhagavatam, that means you are hero. So because you are conquering your own nature. So look at, let's read this translation. Dandanyasa paramdhama. Greatest charity is to give up all aggression towards others. And then renunciation of lust is understood to be real austerity. Real heroism is to conquer one's natural tendency to enjoy material life. Can anyone read this again? Real heroism.
Pinky Sham, could you kindly read?
Hare Krishna.
Real heroism.
Real heroism is to conquer one's natural tendency to enjoy material life. And reality is seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead everywhere.
Yes, up to this much, yes. So in this way, Kshatriya means being a hero. So being a hero, we think we go to war and then conquer the enemy as a hero, but no. Krishna concept of real hero is you conquer your own nature. So this example is given in Mahabharata also. When Arjuna saw Bhishma, the Bhima, and then one night Bhima was disappeared, and then Arjuna was thinking, "Oh, where is Bhima gone?" And then Bhima was hiding in one of a small hut, and then he's eating certain things that he stole from the kitchen. And then Arjuna asked, "Hey brother, how come you eat at night?" And then Bhima said, "Hey brother, when you want to eat something, only two things are required, the food and your mouth. So even if dark, hand knows the position of where mouth is. So that if you focus on this matter, that only hand and mouth, two things you need to focus. Then even if darkness, even there is no light, I can eat no problem." So in this way, Arjuna heard this one. Wow, so Bhima can eat at night without light. So then now I can practice my archery at night also. So in this way, practice archery at night. And then Duryodhana, the Dronacharya saw that he is even practicing at night. Even there is not much of light, he's still practicing. And he felt so good. So that he blessed him. So you'll be my best archer. So that, as you know, the one day that he called all his disciples, so that he put the bird on the tree, so that they called the Duryodhana. So then he said that, "Oh, I see the tree and the bird, etc." Then, so you are not qualified to pick up even bow and arrow. You sit down. And then he called Yudhishthira, and oh, I can see the bird. And he called Bhima, and then he said that, certain things. But when he called Arjuna, Dronacharya, none of them, he didn't allow anyone to shoot. He asked Arjuna, "What do you see?" Then he said that, "I see only black dot only." So what do you mean by only black dot? So eyes of the bird. And then Dronacharya says, "Okay, you shoot." Then, as you know, that he hit the eye of the bird. So, of course, there's a wooden bird, I guess. So in this way, Shaurya means is not that conquering outside the enemy. Shaurya means conquering our own nature or our unwanted habit. If we conquer them, that is true Shaurya. So there is a famous saying in the Buddhist text. The Lord Buddha said that the greatest victory is not you conquer 1 million soldiers, 1 million enemies on the battlefield. Real victory is that if you conquer yourself, then true victory, he said in that way. Also in that way, so we got time, so nearly, okay. I need to then complete so today. So that is Soryam, and then Tejaha, power, and the Dhriti, the determination, Dakshayam, the Dakshayam means skillfulness, or here it says resourcefulness. So Daksha means actually the skill, so resourcefulness. And then Yutecha Apalayam, in the battle, you don't run away, you don't retreat from the battle. And also Dhanam, interestingly, Dhanam is mentioned in Kshatriya qualities. So Dhanam is generosity. So can anyone, let us open for discussion, why Dhanam is mentioned in here? Generosity, Dhanam. Anyone can think? How come Dhanam is a Kshatriya quality, is not Brahmana quality, or here the Vaishya or Sudra quality, Dhanam. Dhanam means charity. Anyone can think?
It doesn't mean you have to be high class to do charity, you still gain the same realization. Is that right?
That answer maybe, but why particularly dhanam in the kshatriya quality?
The kings in the olden days, they were like very righteous. They used to, Prabhuji, they used to like Sri Krishna Deva Raya and all. They used to rule large parts of the kingdom, but their empire was big. But they used to take care of the subjects, and they will give charity to people, to the needy. They'll give money, so that nobody is poor. But they'll also take taxes from people who are working and things like that. So I think that's like in those days when a righteous king is there, he used to support the brahmanas, he used to support the needy people, like people who didn't have money, things like that. So
maybe yes, because in the olden days, the kshatriya has more wealth than any other group. So that's, I think, a good explanation. So that is one of the explanation. One thing I got is that, you know, Muhammad Ali, the boxer, you know, the Muhammad Ali, the boxer. So one match, he had a very heavy opponent, a very strong opponent. So he was so strong that very difficult. It was a very difficult game for him. So just one last punch that he could knock him down. So now he was winning the game. But at that moment, the opponent spit on his face. And then you know what happened? He was just about to win, but when the opponent spit on his face, he threw white towel. So he gave up the game. And then he, you know, in the boxing game, if you throw the towel means you basically you are giving up the game. And then later on, there was an interview that people asked her, "You're almost winning the game, just the one punch away. Why you gave up the game?" Then you know what he said? "I don't want to fight in anger. I never do boxing in anger." So he caused me by spitting on my face. He caused me slight anger. So I didn't want to punch him out of my anger. That's why he threw the towel. So whether he knew it or not, actually he is practicing dhanam. So we discussed dhanam. What is dhanam?
Aggression.
It's giving up
Aggression
all
towards others.
aggression towards others. This is dhanam. True charity is the giving up ill feeling towards others. This is true dhanam. So especially kshatriya, they should fight with enemy, but they should fight with enemy because they have to fight, because of their duty. So without enmity, they should fight. So what a big task they have to do. So in this way, you shouldn't have a personal emotion get involved in our duty. So we have to do because we have to do. So in this way, so dhanam also, one aspect is that yes, kshatriya, they're king, they are supposed to give and just look after the citizens. So there is one aspect of charity. But at the same time, for us, true charity means giving up the ill feeling towards others. So this is the qualities of kshatriya. And then finally, the last verse, it says that Sri Go Raksha Vanijam Vaisha Karma Svabhavajam Paricharyatmakam Karma Sudra Shapi Svabhavajam. So text 44, can you read it, please?
1844. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas, and for the Shudras, their labor and service to others.
So can you see here quality or the level of their practice getting less and less? So for Brahmana, altogether 9 different characteristics they have to develop, and the Kshatriya, 7 different characteristics they have to develop, and then Vaishya, there are 3 things: farming, cow protection, and business. And for the Sudra and service to others is their own character. So in this way, the expectation of the Brahmana is very, very high. So that's why Krishna says, Namo Brahmanyaya Devaya Go Brahmana Itaecha. So I love the cows and I love Brahmana also. So in this way, Brahmana means not just wearing the Brahman thread or not just the second initiation. Brahmana means we have to develop this quality. So in this way, each quality actually has to lead to develop love of Krishna. That is today's verse. So exactly the same message given next verse also in the Bhagavad Gita. Sve sve kalmani abhirata samsittim nabate naraha. Sva kalma nirata sittim yatha vindati chat shrunu. So sve sve kalmani abhirata. Each activity, each dharma, if you focus on samsittil nabate naraha, that will lead to perfection of your life. So Krishna didn't say which one is higher and low. Krishna didn't say that. Krishna said, Sve Sve Karmani Abhirata. Any karma, any ashram you belong to, you do perfectly within that ashram, then samsittim labate naraha. You reach the perfection. So in this way, we discussed today's verse. And then maybe another 5 minutes, maybe I'll take some question.
Prabhu, we are running out of time. Could we postpone questions to next time? Because we even started early and it's 1.5 hours.
Okay, then we'll do that. Yeah. Okay then.
So if anyone has any questions, please kind of write one down so you don't forget. And we next time after summary, you can raise those questions. So thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you. So
and Patanjali Muni, could you kindly the closing prayers?
Okay. So as I told you earlier on, today actually a lot to cover, and also we didn't get a chance to go through the verses which I wanted to discuss, that Bhagavatam 3rd canto and also 11th canto, that what we discussed actually is condensed in Bhikshu Gita, so that I wanted to share, but we don't have time now. So that maybe this one I will discuss the next class next week. So that this is very relevant. That what we discussed today is the essence of the Kapila Gita, 3rd canto. We will see the next week, and also this is the essence of the 11th canto. So that we'll see the same message is expressed in different way throughout the Bhagavatam. So we'll go through next week. I hope you join next week also. Thank you. So I'll do the closing prayers and then thank you. Salve Santu Niramaya. Salve Akasi Tukavakvave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityulma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.